Well, guys, recently I had to do my first takes on Canto 7 video, and let's just say that I left a little bit out. In fact, multiple things out, but you know, this is partially my fault and partially a time constraints fault. There was so much that happened inside of Canto 7, especially in the last third of that canto, that I left out some of the most important things. So, if you haven't seen that video yet, go check it out before I get into the things that I and maybe even you missed in Canto 7. Don't worry, for those of you guys who decided to throw out, you know, what Rocinante was doing and all that good stuff over in my comment section, I'll be bringing that up here too. But let's start with the first thing, and probably the biggest thing that I did not bring up when the sinners were all talking to Sancho. The fact that Sinclair finally had a moment of character development again. His mark of Cain, the supernatural mark, whatever you guys want to call it, you know, the mark that shows that Sinclair has the ability to change the world. This one, you guys didn't miss. This is one that I should have brought up in my section where I was talking about the family, the new family that Don has now. And when it comes to Sinclair being part of Don's family, he is definitely the little brother that somehow, some way, gives you advice that you should really listen to, even if it's coming from probably not the most reliable person in the team. When all has failed, when Dante can't think of anything, and when the rest of the sinners are about to ride off Don, it is actually Sinclair who steps up and shows great fortitude and leadership capabilities. I don't know if the mark's activation is what caused this. I don't know if, you know, it was just something that activated the mark. But it was a cool little callback to Sinclair's canto and him actually having the determination to do something great. You know what would be truly great if you guys went ahead and liked and subscribed to the channel. I am trying to get to 10,000 by the end of the year, and you know, I want to do what every American does and stomp the shit out of what I'm aiming for and get there, you know, several months quicker. Like someone trying to beat the GPS, because let's face it, that is not the time I'm going to arrive. I'm going to get there at least 5 minutes earlier. Managers, you know that with a canto as large as 3, that Sinclair's mark being the only thing that I missed would have been great, but it wasn't. So, you guys remember when Sancho was defeated, but like, yeah, I'm not gonna rejoin you yet, and we end up on their stages, see all the lovely play sets that we were in. Do you remember everything that happened in the background? I bet you don't. Go ahead, pause right now, type in the comment section down below what you remember was in the background. I bet 90% of you will say the one I say last, first. With Sinclair leading the charge and Raja deciding to talk, we get the first break in the stage and the casino starts to rain into our little arena. Shortly after that, Gregor and Ishmael both show up, have a little bit to say, and boom! A little one of those fucking Hell's Chickens shows up to peacock right all over the screen. For some strange reason, Yiseng gets not only the seagull to appear from Ishmael's canto, but also gets the beach reaper to appear. When Heathcliff shows up, the seagull comes back down the tight line in the top right corner of the screen. However, while you're paying attention to the bird, a Santa hat appears on the house. The spice brush comes back as it pushes through one of the back walls, and Don's spear breaks right through the fucking wall. This whole time, this whole little scene is showing us that Sancho's true family is the family that she had when she was known as Don. Even Bari, who made sure that the other fixers wrote to her. Oh, and for that last little one that I'm almost certain all of you remembered, the lightning squirrel. And, I mean, come on, it was the one that was the most shocking to see make a return. The only thing else that I really kind of missed, even though it wasn't really me missing, it was just me not bringing up in abundance, was the fact that Sancho's previous family, the priest, the barber, and the princess of La Manchaland, or whatever you want to call her, Dulcinea, all didn't really have much to do. Honestly, I feel like the story needed to wrap around them a little bit more in their section to actually bring them out as characters. Because even though their boss fight was in each one of their individual boss fights before the trio fight, other than obviously the priest who, just kind of died off screen, but other than each of their individuals, you didn't get much out of it. Like, there could have been a lot of story about family in there, but all we really got was that they betrayed the father, pinned him down, staked him a whole bunch, and that's how they got in their predicament now. Like, there could have been like a loving sister thing there with Dawn and Dulcinea. There could have been something there with the barber, other than that she just made the masks. The priest could have prayed for Sancho's soul or something, but it just kind of fell flat. And that's why, like, yeah, they're cool designed characters, but I didn't mention much about them. And I do feel bad for not being able to do that. Again, time constraints. When I say time constraints, guys, I mean my editor doesn't like to have to try to edit a 30-minute video in 4 days. So we're trying to work on that. We're trying to make it so I can do longer form videos if I have to, but the editing might lack a little bit in there. Let us know if you guys just kind of put our stuff on in the background, and that way we know what we're doing a little bit more, because like we don't need massively awesome edits if you guys just like to watch the video like while you're doing chores. Well, we've gone through the majority of major things that I missed inside of the dream ending. However, there are a couple of theories and or things you guys told me about that I'm going to go ahead and talk about here. Both of said theories kind of revolve around Rocinante. I got a lot of comments from you guys saying this, that, or the other about it, so I'm going to go ahead and go into a little bit of detail about it and tell you my true thoughts on it a little bit more here. So what happens when a giant horse made of blood and the will of its master gets turned into a pair of Nikes? Well, what all can it do? Does it have the power to mind control? Does it have the power to straight up control? What exactly do they do? Can they suppress Dawn's bloodlust, bloodfiend abilities, and memories? And this is where a lot of the questions came in. Because when I did the video, I talked about how the Waters of Oblivion are what canceled out her thought process. But a lot of you guys wanted to point out that there's a singularity, mentioned I believe in Canto 2, that locks and unlocks anything. And how these boots probably work on a very similar conceptual processy that those do. And I can see it just because the singularity exists. We don't quite know if Don has it done, or Daddy Don, or Don Quixote, put some respect on his name, damn it, died without telling us how he made the boots, or the horses, or whatever like that. So, with that being said, we don't know exactly if that's what they do. Faust apparently in LCB does explain it. When I get there, I'll bring it up on stream. So come to the streams. I do them every Tuesday at this point, and you'll be able to see when I come to this conclusion exactly on what happens or not with these boots. Can they control Dawn? Well, yeah, we literally see the boots forcing Dawn to walk away from Daddy Dawn, at least when he returns to La Manchaland and everything's gone tits up. So yes, the boots can control at least her physical body. Her mental body, I don't know so much. The yellowing in her eyes to reduce her blood fiend or bloodlust ability, all that stuff, don't really happen once her boots are on. Like, if I'm remembering correctly, they don't happen really until after she drank the waters. So again, it's one of those weird in the middle situations. It's like, yeah, they suppress her a bit. However, the biggest thing that no one talked about, no one brought up, and that I can see for the reason she doesn't need to drink blood, or any of that other nonsense. It's because when you turn a giant horse into a small pair of boots, it's a lot of blood that this construct is made out of. And I don't see any reason in hell why it couldn't be sustaining her the entire time through, I don't know, some weird reverse acupuncture shit. So, just something you guys can think of a little bit also. And of course, we have my last theory on the entire situation. Rocinante, giant blood horse. Carousel, giant blood horses. At least in the final fight with Dawn. So, what if the will of Dawn, the true will of Dawn, like with Rocinante, is put into his horse? What if technically, and this is for you guys to think of too, the carousel horses that assist you in the end fight against Don Quixote are actually the same exact constructs that Rocinante is, and that they are, in fact, holding the true will of Don Quixote, and that's why they assist you after you beat him into submission. But, you know, it is a theory. It is something I'm thinking of. I might jump into a deep dive on it later, or do an entire video on how the blood system works when it comes to the Bloodfiends. Well, guys, this one was never meant to be as long as the first video. It was literally meant to be a things I may have missed, or you may have missed. If you did miss any of the things that I pointed out in this video, let me know in the comments section down below. And, you know, guys, we have a Discord. We just had an art competition. And Friday, we are doing a video where we are going to put the Space Marines into the city and see how many Space Marines it takes to wipe out the city, if they can do it at all. It's going to be on our live stream at 5 o'clock on Friday. Be there so you guys can see how awesome this may or may not be. But like always, guys, remember, be good to each other. We'll see you in the next video.